to the Via Stoica Podcast. My name is Benny. Today we're going to look at a Stoic quote. We're going to look at one from Seneca, from his dialogues and essays. I have this lovely book here with a lovely cover for those who are watching on YouTube or on Spotify. We're going to look right there. We're going to delve right into it. And again, if you want to like and subscribe to the channel, that's always very much appreciated. And all of your comments are very welcome. We really appreciate them. And again, if you want to book a free consultation with me to talk about how you can implement Stoic practices to your life or the things that you're struggling with, then go to viastoica.com where you can schedule a free talk with me and we can have a look at how we can help. But for now, we're going to dive right in. This is a quote from the Consolation letter to Marcia, a lady who was grieving the loss of her son for many years now, and people were asking Seneca for his wise and sage advice to help her overcome it. And he took kind of a different angle, right? He took a more direct approach in his letter, and he was, for example, he has, and this is not the quote that we're reading, but it's an interesting passage. He says, like, if you grieve for your son's death, it's an accusation of the time he was born. For at his birth, his death was proclaimed, right? So he kind of goes right into it. But we'll delve into it, and we'll also look a little bit at grieving and at those aspects of this part. But here we go. This is, again, from the Consolation to Marcia, point 11. It starts right at the top. He says, "What's the need to weep at parts of life? All life is worthy of our tears. Fresh problems will press upon you before you have done with the old ones." Now, I like this one, right? He says, like, you can why cry for just parts of life? If you're going to cry about life, cry for everything, because it's difficult. Life is tough. Life isn't the way we want it to go, especially now in this age of social media, movies. Everything is being romanticized, the happily ever after, all the fairy tales. Those are the images that we get, and that's kind of the life that we expect to live, right? It's all rosy and great and happy, right? We should be happy at all times, but we often don't even know what that means, right? What does happiness mean, and what does the good life mean? And should it be like the movie? Should I fall in love and have this perfect, never-ending fairy tale that's gonna happen, right? There's these Christmas movies around, and it's always the happy ending. But then I always ask, okay, what happens on January or February or after that, right? So life happens, and even when the cameras are off, that's when real life occurs. And life is difficult. I think that's also something that we should acknowledge and should cultivate more compassion amongst each other. If we see someone going through a difficult time, be there for them, support them, because it's difficult. Again, we all have our ups and downs and our challenges. And if we can at least acknowledge that for ourselves, and then also try to see that for others, we can find a little bit more kindness and a little bit more compassion towards each other, instead of pushing each other down or comparing ourselves too much to others. All of these things, they're not necessary, right? And that's why Seneca is kind of putting this on as well. If you want to weep for life, weep about everything, right? If you want to focus on your problems, then the next problem is already happening before you know it. And this is a Stoic philosophy comes to mind. Yes, grieving is a natural emotion, right? We have a sadness with loss, because especially the more attached we get to something, the more we will feel that loss happening, like something is being ripped out of our lives. And that's the first practice, right? We can see that in Epictetus in one of our previous quotes, to remember that, what you love, the human beings around us, everything is everything is part of change, right? Everything will change. People will go, things will go, animals will go, nature will go, the earth will go at one point, the sun will go at one point, right? Everything is bound by those laws of nature, that change will happen. And we've got to remember that it will happen to us and it will happen to those around us. So that's why we've got to learn to be grateful in the moment. But we will experience grief, right? We will do so. And then in the moments, we can hopefully rely on others to kind of get us through that. Those are not the moments to make big decisions or take big actions, because we are then taken out of our reason and logical mind. And that's not the setting for us to start taking some big decisions and all of that. That's why we support. And if you are supporting someone who is grieving, right, who is going through a difficult time, yes, the Stoics say you can shed a tear with them, but don't make them your tears. Make them supportive emotions, but also be there for them and make sure that you guide them through those difficult times and maybe help them with some decision making or some actions and prevent them from harming themselves or doing other harmful things. Because at that moment, we are not capable of looking at life through the objective lens that is filled with reason and logic. And Stoicism is a philosophy that requires that mindset. This is sometimes where people can go wrong when they are maybe depressed or in a different mental state where reason or logic is not available to them. And then Stoicism might not be the best tool, right? Then it might be better to seek out professional help, support from people around you to bring you back to that calm and mental state so you can then go back to reason and logic. And then, Stoicism is something that can accompany there, right? That can give you those support systems for the next time when it happens, or even maybe in those moments when you do find that calm. But support and the people around us are needed, especially in those difficult times. But as Seneca says, we don't have to, we shouldn't weep for parts of life, because then we can just go ahead and weep for everything, right? We need to see it for what it is. That's why the Stoics are very keen on that concept that was popularized by Nietzsche and by modern Stoic insights of amor fati. Love your fate, embrace it. In another quote, Seneca goes, "You are unfortunate because you've never been unfortunate." So we can see that even from those hardships, from those obstacles, we can grow. That is the moment where we can then say, okay, I'm moving beyond this. Not that I'm going to forget about it. Not that I'm going to, lose the importance that they had in my life, but I'm going to let that fuel me to grow. I'm going to use the inspiration that they've given me, that life has given me, to become a better person. And then to make sure that I make those steps toward progress that I need to make. So those obstacles actually become valuable to us. The loss can then be changed into something that helps us move beyond and that helps us grow. I'll read the quote one more time because it is one of the most beautiful ones that I like this one very much. So what is the need to weep at parts of life? All life is worthy of our tears. Fresh problems will press upon you before you've done with the old ones. Remember, each problem is just a segment in time. If you can zoom out, look at it from the view above, see how many problems you've already overcome in your life, and you're still here, you're still working, and they've made you stronger, right? They've made you look better if you can learn from them and if you can use them to grow. So yes, a tear is fine. Yes, grieving is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't take any actions or big decisions for that. Let it kind of flow through you. Then take a deep breath, pause, look objectively at what's happening, celebrate the things that you've lost, and celebrate the now that you still get to go on, make those decisions, enjoy the things that you have around you, find the support, find those people around you that can help you there and that can give you that joy. And then life continues. That's how it works. Change is the only constant that we have, and life will go on. It will be different, but you will be richer because of those experiences. And I'll leave you with this from one of the song lyrics from a Dutch song that I have, and I really like that. And in that lyric, it goes, "It's better to have lost something that you've loved than to never have had it at all." And if you want more help with any of this, free consultation with me at viastoica.com.